When we talk about football, we usually talk about the things that make this sport so special. The passion of the fans, the players chasing their dreams on the biggest stage, the national pride behind every World Cup match, and the idea that for 90 minutes, football belongs to everyone. But recently, one question has started a huge debate across the football world. Can football itself become an investment product? Hello and welcome to Sideline Story. I'm Tian Yu. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has proposed creating a new commercial company called FIFA Forward Enterprises, or FFE, which would bring together FIFA's commercial businesses, including broadcasting, sponsorship, and ticketing rights. The plan is to allow outside investors to buy minority stakes in this company, with FIFA saying the money raised could be used to increase funding for football development around the world. From FIFA's perspective, the argument is very simple. Football is growing, and the organization wants more money to invest in countries and regions that need support. FIFA says the plan could help increase development funding for all 211 member associations, including money for grassroots football, infrastructure, coaching, and women's football. And to be fair, there is a real point behind that argument. Football is not only about the biggest clubs in Europe. There are still many countries where young players lack proper training facilities, coaches, and opportunities. If more money can really reach those areas, that really sounds like a positive thing. But the problem is not just about money. The bigger question is, what does football become when part of its biggest competitions is owned by investors whose main goal is financial return? And that is exactly why UEFA has strongly opposed the idea. European football governing body argues that the World Cup is not an investment product. It is a sporting tradition built over generations by players, national teams, and fans around the world. And from a football fan's perspective, I think this is where the emotional side of the debate comes in. Because football is different from many other industries. A company can be bought and sold. A business can change ownership. But can you really put a price tag on the World Cup? Can you say this percentage of football history belongs to an investor now? That just feels uncomfortable. Imagine a future where investors start asking, how can we make the World Cup more profitable? Should we add more teams? Should we hold the tournament more often? And should we change the schedule to create more revenue? Of course, growth is not always a bad thing. Football has always evolved. The Champions League expanded, the World Cup expanded, and new markets have opened. But I think there is always a limit. At some point, you have to ask whether we are growing football or whether we are using football to grow a business. And that difference matters. For players, this could create even more pressure. Footballers are already dealing with an extremely crowded calendar. More matches mean more injuries, less recovery time, and more physical demands. If outside investors expect bigger profits, there will naturally be pressure to create more events and more commercial opportunities. The players are the ones who will carry that burden on the pitch. And for fans, the concern is slightly different. We fans don't fall in love with football because of financial numbers. We fall in love with the stories. A small country qualifying for the World Cup for the first time, a player scoring a last-minute winner for his national team, and a family watching the same tournament together across generations. Those moments are valuable because they're not just products, they mean something. Of course, FIFA argues that outside investment would not mean losing control. The organization says investors would only hold minority, non-controlling stakes, while FIFA would maintain control over football decisions, competitions, and regulations. But critics are asking another important question. Even if investors do not officially control football, could money still influence the direction of the game? Because once billions of dollars are involved, commercial interests will always have a voice. And this is why the reaction has been so strong. UEFA has even threatened to boycott FIFA competitions if the plan goes ahead, saying that football's biggest competitions should not be opened to private ownership. Other football organizations have also raised concerns about transparency and governance, saying they were not properly consulted before the proposal was introduced. For me, I think the debate is not really about whether football needs money. Of course it does. I think football needs investment, smaller nations need support, young players need better opportunities. But the question is where that money comes from and what price football is willing to pay for it. Because football's greatest strength has always been that it belongs to everyone. It belongs to the superstar scoring in the final, and it also belongs to the teenager watching from a small village, dreaming of playing one day. And it also belongs to millions of fans who spend their weekends, their emotions, and sometimes their entire lives supporting their teams. Money can help football grow, but football cannot afford to lose the things that make people love it in the first place. And maybe that is the biggest challenge facing the sport today. Not how to make football richer, but how to make sure football stays football. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Sideline Story. Whether it's about money, power, or the future of the game, one thing is clear. Football belongs to the people who love it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.